Okay, so you're on the house hunt and you hit that classic crossroads. Do we buy the shiny, polished masterpiece, or do we grab the project house that just needs a little love? I mean, we've all been conditioned to think buying the fixer-upper is the ultimate financially savvy move, right? Well, today in this explainer, we are completely shattering that 30-minute TV fantasy. We're going to equip you with the hard, objective 2026 math to help you actually decide between a move-in ready turnkey home and a full-on fixer-upper. It's all about making the absolute right choice for you right now based on real market data. Let's get into it. We have to start with a number that should, honestly, terrify any prospective homebuyer: 22%. Look, right now in 2026, major home renovations are blowing past their initial budgets by an average of 22%. It is so easy to look at the price gap between a finished home and a project house and just see instant equity. Boom, free money, right? But the harsh reality is that gap is exactly where your renovation budget lives. And as this 22% average clearly shows, that budget is highly likely to burst. I heard this saying recently, and it requires a massive mental shift. A fixer-upper isn't a discount, it's literally a down payment on a second job. You're not just saving money on a purchase price here, you're actively hiring yourself for a highly stressful, totally unpaid part-time job. We so often dramatically underestimate the final cost, the massive time commitment, and, let's be honest, our own ability to actually contribute meaningful labor. Once you stop seeing that project house as a magic discount and start viewing it as a second job, well, your whole perspective completely changes. Because it's not just about picking out cute paint colors. It's a fundamental trade-off. Think of it like this. Buying a move-in ready property buys you cost certainty and convenience, but you pay a premium price for it up front. Buying a fixer-upper, you're trading that sweet certainty for massive project variables. Sure, you get a lower entry price, but you inherit wild budget unpredictability and endless timeline delays. It's a calculated choice between two radically different realities.
So, let's look at the real numbers. Using aggregate data from Renology and the 2026 Cost versus Value Report, it is wild how quickly basic updates obliterate your perceived discount. A mid-range minor kitchen remodel, that's going to run you anywhere from $29,000 to $45,000. A primary bath, you're looking at $35,000 to $65,000. Just replacing the siding with fiber cement can cost up to $50,000. And keep in mind, these are national averages. If you live in a high cost of living area, bump these numbers up by 30 to 50% easily. The costs add up incredibly fast, and what looked like a bargain can quickly become a massive financial liability. To actually survive these costs, you've got to ask yourself three critical questions before you ever set foot in an open house. Question 1. What is my absolute all-in budget? And this cannot be some soft, squishy range. It has to be a hard number that includes the purchase price, the estimated renovations, and, this is absolutely crucial, a mandatory 15 to 20% contingency fund. The National Association of Home Builders specifically recommends this contingency for older homes because you will find surprises. No way around it. If you don't have this hard number mapped out, you're literally flying blind. Second question. You've got to ask yourself about your time. Like, really honestly, how much of your personal time can you dedicate to this project every single week? The whole idea of sweat equity, it's mostly a fantasy unless you're already a licensed plumber or electrician. Binge-watching home improvement shows on a Sunday afternoon definitely doesn't count. Your real job is going to be project management. You have to quantify the hours you can spend wrangling contractors, sourcing materials, and making dozens of rapid-fire weekly decisions. It's an incredibly demanding role. And the third question, what is your actual primary goal? Because building a highly personalized dream home to live in for the next 10 years conflicts entirely with trying to maximize your resale value in 5, right? If your goal is purely financial, doing a light cosmetic flip might actually be smart. But if you're gutting a place to match your highly specific personal tastes, you run the risk of over-improving for the neighborhood. Your answer to this question absolutely must dictate every single choice you make, from the floor plan down to the cabinet hardware. Now here is the terrifying reality about standard visual home inspections. They will almost never catch the budget-destroying financial black holes hidden behind the drywall. I mean, inspectors literally can't see through walls. You might buy a house feeling amazing, and then suddenly you discover galvanized plumbing that needs a full PEXA repipe, or uninsurable knob and tube wiring. Maybe it's a cracked original sewer line, or asbestos hidden under the flooring, or, my personal favorite, improperly cut floor joists from some previous DIY disaster. These hidden surprises can easily add $50,000 to your budget before you've even picked out a single paint color. So if you do decide to take the plunge, you have to triage the house in a strict, highly unglamorous order. Forget the kitchen island for a second. First, it's the roof and gutters. You absolutely have to protect the envelope of the house. Step 2 is foundation and drainage. Step 3, windows. And Step 4 focuses on the core systems, electrical, plumbing, HVAC. Upgrading these ensures the home is actually safe and meets modern codes. Think about it. If the house isn't dry and structurally sound first, any beautiful interior work you do is just at severe risk of being completely ruined. But, knowing when to run is arguably your most important skill here. Not every project is worth saving. There are 3 major red flags where you should absolutely just walk away. First, major structural foundation cracks. And I don't mean minor settling, I mean deep structural failure. Second, persistent unresolved water intrusion. You can fix drywall all day, but finding the source of chronic water damage? Absolute nightmare. And third, unfixable location problems. If you share a driveway with a notoriously difficult neighbor, or you're right next to a noisy commercial zone, no amount of remodeling is going to fix that. Issues like these will ruin you, both financially and mentally. Okay, so how do you actually pay for all this? Unless you just happen to have massive cash reserves sitting around, you are going to need a specialized renovation loan, something like an FHA 203K or Fannie Mae's Homestyle loan. And these are conceptually great because they combine the purchase price and your renovation budget into one single mortgage based on what the home will be worth after the repairs. But they add frustrating layers of paperwork, incredibly strict contractor requirements, and higher fees to your closing timeline. The bank holds the funds in escrow and only releases them after passing inspections. So yes, it's a powerful tool, but let me tell you, it is neither fast nor easy. You also have to realize the calculation your parents made a decade ago, it's dead. Today's math is entirely different. For this 2026 market shift, we're looking at mortgage rates stabilizing in the 5 to 6% range, which obviously makes financing that renovation much more expensive. Building codes have gotten a lot tighter too, with the 2024 IRC enforcing much stricter insulation and electrical rules. And supply chain lead times for specialty materials still hovering around 12 to 20 weeks. Now on the flip side, you can uniquely offset some of these costs with the new federal IRA home energy tax credits if you're upgrading things like windows or HVAC systems, which is definitely a nice bonus.
Which brings us to the most important metric that honestly no one else talks about, the break-even horizon. What exactly is this? It's calculating exactly how many years it's going to take for your home's appreciation to overcome the renovation premium you paid to fix it up. Let's say you bought a fixer for $150,000 less than the updated house next door, but you end up spending $180,000 on the renovation. Well, you just paid a $30,000 premium for the privilege of customizing it yourself. Your break-even horizon tells you exactly how many years you have to own that home just to earn that premium back. And why does that even matter? Because statistically, the average homeowner moves every 7 to 10 years. You have got to calculate if your break-even horizon actually fits within your real-life plan. If your horizon calculates out to, say, 12 years based on your local market's appreciation, but you know you're probably going to move in 7, the math on this explainer guarantees you are essentially paying for the next buyer's pristine home. You have to be brutally realistic about how long you are truly going to stay in the property. Ultimately, what we're talking about here isn't just a financial decision. It's a personality test. You have to choose between accepting market risk or project risk. If you buy a move-in-ready home, your risk is external and financial. You might be buying at the absolute top of the market. But if you buy a fixer-upper, your risk is internal and operational. You are taking on the massive project risk of managing a complex, expensive, messy renovation yourself. There's no universally right answer here, only the answer that is right for your own mental fortitude. So I want to leave you with one final thought based on all the hard 2026 data we've covered today. Which category of risk can you realistically sleep with at night? Do you sleep better knowing your costs are fixed and the dust is settled? Or are you ready to navigate the chaos of construction to build your exact vision? Answer that honestly, and you'll know exactly which house to buy. But it really begs the question. With costs and risks higher than ever, is the classic American dream of customizing your own home becoming a luxury of the past? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy house hunting.